animal right here. And I think that this animal is a dog. So I'm thinking this would be a dog, but sometimes baby dogs are called puppies, and he looks kind of little. I'm going to have to be very clever when I read this to know if this is a dog or a puppy. The is in the tub. This is going to be tricky for me. But I'm thinking it might be this animal because we're adding an animal every time. So I'm wondering if this is a duck or if this is a goose or if this is a bird. I'm going to have to be very clever when I come to this word and watch very carefully to see. The water is in the tub. I don't know what this word is, but she just put the water in. She's got a scrub brush. Oh, I see some bubbles. So I wonder if this could be bubbles. The bubbles is in the tub. It doesn't really sound right. And I know that soap makes bubbles. The soap is in the tub. It could be soap. That makes sense. The soap is in the tub. I'm going to have to be very clever, though, to see if it's soap or bubbles. Wishy-washy, wishy-washy.
Great. Let's for just a moment revisit our standards. Excuse me, our book level traits. I could stop at the tricky part. Was she stopping at the tricky part? She was. Was her think aloud clear? Yes, it was clear. Did you know what to focus on? Yes. A think aloud is not think about everything that could possibly happen in the book. A think aloud is very focused to the trait or the strategy that you are teaching. So you only want to think aloud those things that are going to help the children to learn how to use that strategy while they're reading. So don't think about everything. Make it very focused towards what those children need to learn. I can check the picture. What was she doing physically? What was her physical scaffold? She was pointing. She was using her pointer stick. She was circling things. She was really paying attention to that picture as she physically pointed and touched it.
This helps our ELL kids a lot. You draw them in on what to focus on.
And all the other children too, because we're trying to really help them to know what it is that we want them to be thinking about. Now, she's going to reread this story one more time because she was clear with the first and the second standard. Now the next time she reads, she's actually going to use I can stop at the tricky part again, but then she's going to add a book level trait. I can say the beginning sound. So I want you to watch for that. See what she does. See how she focuses in. And you'll see how she's using those sticky notes. The sticky notes right now were the tricky words, the words that she was tricked on and she wanted the kids to focus on in the picture. So as she had, so she covered up some of the words that would be helpful for her to teach the strategy. I could say the beginning sound. The beginning sound is going to help her to know by using the picture what that word could be. Because right now, a lot of those children cannot read the entire word, can they? But we've talked about letters and they know the sound. So that's where we want to focus their attention. So your verbal scaffold, and I'll have you answer just a minute. The verbal scaffold is something you say over and over. What did you hear Amy say over and over?
I'm gonna have to be really clever.
I'm gonna have to be really clever. And what was the next part to that? And
Think about what's
There you go.
going to make sense.
think about what's going to make sense. So she's going to be very clever. And think about what's going to make sense.
Okay, what does make sense? Does anybody know what we're after when we say make sense?
Does it have to do with meaning, structure, or visual? I'll give you that here.
Picture matches.
Okay, the picture matches the text.
And doesn't change the meaning, right?
Doesn't change the meaning.
We're after meaning.
But it's the structure of the sentence. Did that sound right is the structure, right? Look right is visual. And did it make sense is meaning. Okay, we're going to talk more about meaning, structure, and visual information in our next cohort. But just, I want you to be aware that Amy is saying things over and over, and that's what you need to decide. What is it I'm going to say over and over to help the children understand and learn this strategy? And what is it that I'm going to do over and over to help the children focus in on this strategy? So those are the things that we're going to be watching for. Something you say, something you do. Shelley?
You covered those words prior to, so that you've done already. And when you got to that point.
And then see right here, on this one, I have tail and tub written for me. So I've already thought of some other things that I can call certain things, and it's right there. Those are my notes, okay? It's
Did you
okay to put your notes right in the book.
You tell the kids though that you've covered the words that are tricky for
They
you.
see it.
Well, and you have your think loud signs so they're not talking.
They're just watching the teacher.
Okay.
So
They're just
that's their job right now. And so really, they don't know why those words might be covered. They just know that that was a tricky word because when Amy got to it, what did she say? Oh, this is a tricky word. I'm going to have to be very clever. And then I'm going to have to think about the picture. And she was pointing to the picture. So they're starting to get the idea. And as you see her read it one more time, I think it'll become a little bit clearer.
Let's see which one.
I was gonna go here, but I'm gonna
book
wait
level
for
three.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So are you ready to go on, Amy? Okay, is everyone okay as far as the observation guide, where we're at, and what we're watching for? Okay.
Mrs. Wishy-Washy's cup. Mrs. Wishy-Washy's cup. The cow is in the oh. When I was on this page before, I thought that this might be tub, but I also thought it could be a pail because I've heard people call it a pail. But this letter T is helping me. I bet this word says tub. The cow is in the tub. Tub. It looks right. I'm going to move on. The pig is in the tub. Oh, when I was on this page before, I said that this could either be a dog or a puppy. I know that this is a D, and I know that dog starts with D. I bet this word is dog. Dog. It looks right. The dog is in the tub. The animal in the book. And I didn't know if this was a duck, a goose, or a bird. I think this is going to be a duck. because duck starts with D. The duck is in the tub.
And stop for just a moment. D is a tricky letter, and children often reverse it, and they get confused with B's and D's. So some children may see that and think it could have been a B. So you need to choose one or the other, either a B or a D, that every time you come to, you are going to check. Oh, I'm not sure if that's a B or a D. Let's check. Around, up, down, D. Oh, let's all do it. Around, up, down, D. And you can have the kids do it with you. Around, up, down, D. Is that a D? It is. And you can bring it back, connect it to your alphabet chart. Around, up, down, D. That's a D, and this is a D. So check it, and always use one or the other. I always used a D, so I would always check for a D. If this were a B and I went around, up, down, would it match? No, it wouldn't match. Oh, it must not be a D because it doesn't match. And then I would go to the B and do the verbal prompt for the B, just to check. So choose one or the other for that reversal.
When you're doing it in the middle of a story like this, though, you want to keep meaning high. Visual is low. Okay? Because we're always after the comprehension. So if you do it, around, up, down, D, yep, duck. Can you see how fast that is? Fast, okay? The duck is in the tub.
Since this is a model lesson, you should just keep it a model. I probably said that wrong. If it were an interactive lesson, interact with the kids and have them try it. Okay, so let's make that differentiation.
The water is in the tub. Oh, I remember this being tricky. I remember I said bubbles, or this could be soap. So I have to be very clever and check the beginning sound. I bet this word is soap, because sometimes bubbles make soap. Sometimes soap makes bubbles. The soap is in the tub. Wishy-washy, wishy-washy. Girls, today, you just saw me. I stopped at the tricky part. When there was a tricky part in my story, I stopped. And then I checked the picture to see if the picture could help me in any way. And then I checked the picture with the beginning or the first sound of the word. When you are reading, you can be very clever and you can do the same thing. This can help you in your reading.
If you could give them an example of a turn and talk that you would do with the model lesson. Because right here it says modeled. Children will think together at the end.
Okay. So, boys and girls, can you turn and tell your neighbor something that you saw me do with our book today? Turn and tell your neighbor, what did you see me do today with our book? Go. Okay, come back. Okay, raise your hand if you have something you can share. What did you see me do?
You stopped when it was tricky.
I stopped and it was tricky. Okay, there's an example. And then you can keep going until all three are done. Thank you for reminding me about that part.
So do you see how
Part for me.
powerful that is when kids turn and talk so that they can revisit that strategy? Was Amy's lesson clear? Were children starting to put it together? That they need to be looking at the picture, checking that beginning sound, even predicting words to begin with. What could that be? What could that tricky word be? Look at the picture, then look at that beginning sound. Harmony.
Okay, so this may sound really silly, but that's a beautiful lesson, and I'd love all of mine to look that way, and I feel like I can absolutely do that given a little more time.
Yeah.
Is it really possible to do all three of those and all of those wonderful things you just did and turn to talk to a partner, all of that in 10 minutes.